This is what my skin looks like, no retouch, no filters. You can see the redness here along with all of this redness, very acne prone, dealing with a couple of actives through here as well. I always pride myself on my like acne makeup and how to cover up my acne, and by the time I'm done with my makeup you can't even notice any of this, and I get comments all the time saying how they would have never expected my skin to look like this. Skin prep is like the most important thing, so I go from my skincare to my skin prep to my makeup. I always start out my skin prep with hypochlorous acid. This is great antimicrobial, so it helps with bacteria, which helps with acne, but it's also just great for hydration. I have very dry, acne prone, sensitive skin. But the hardest part when it comes to acne is covering it up, because it can tend to look patchy, it can look dry, it can look cakey, like it just doesn't grab on very nicely. So even if you do have oily skin or you just have acne prone skin in general, this helps with the base so much, because you have that like very hydrated base so the makeup can lay on it nicely instead of clinging to the dry patches around pimples. Another way that I really cover up like deep dark redness, like especially through here, these will still show through a full coverage foundation, so I like to use a concealer that matches my skin tone. So I have a darker shade of concealer for my acne versus a shade for my under eyes that's brighter, and this concealer specifically, this is the House Labs one. It's a little bit thicker of a formula, so it's not as thin as something like a Kosas or a Tower 28. It's a little bit thicker, so it stays on the blemish better, and it doesn't just like slip or slide right off and leaving us without that coverage. When I used to have, believe it or not, my skin was worse than this once before, and I used to cover my face with concealer just like this before I did any type of makeup, and this helps so much with covering it up. This is going to obviously give us a little bit of that base coverage and color, so that way when we go over top of it with our foundation, you're not going to see it peeking through as much as you would if you just went in straight with foundation. So you can see already some of that redness is really dissipating, kind of going away, and this is going to give us almost like a base before our actual foundation base, because covering up this versus covering up that color is a lot easier. So doing the same thing on the other side. And then another one of my tips is to make sure you're not being afraid of powder, because powder can actually help a ton with keeping coverage on acne spots. And then also doing everything with a brush over top of acne will make it so much easier to cover up blemishes, because the coverage will stay on. All the products I talked about linked in my LTK. And this is what my makeup looks like before I go into any other type of products. All I have on my skin is my skin prep, my foundation. Look at that. Game changer.